Many say they believe the law, yet the instant the outer world denies their wish, their faith begins to waver. They look at what appears unchanging, and their senses cry out, "It isn't working." That is the very moment when faith is tested. You have felt it too, the quiet whisper that questions your own power. Maybe I imagined it wrong. Maybe I am not worthy. Maybe this is beyond me. That is self-doubt, the forgetfulness of your true being, the sleep of the I am. And when self-doubt takes root, another shadow follows, the doubt of the law itself. You begin to wonder, if this were true, why hasn't it shown itself? Why does the world remain the same? So you wait for proof before believing, not knowing that proof itself is born of belief. Both doubts share one origin, ignorance of who you are and what the law is. For if you truly knew that imagination is the creative power of God in you, you could never doubt again. You would stand serene amid all contradictions, knowing that the outer world is only the slow reflection of the inner act. So, my friends, let us face this question honestly. Why do we doubt? And what is the one power that dissolves every doubt, that keeps you faithful to the unseen reality when the senses cry impossible? For within that answer lies the secret of every miracle, the bridge of faith between desire and its fulfillment. From childhood, you were told to look outside for approval. You were measured by grades, by faces of authority, by the changing moods of those you wish to please. Slowly, the still voice that once said, "I can," was replaced by the echo of, "You must prove it." Once, as children, we believed easily. We could dream with our eyes open and feel our imaginings alive within us. The world was soft, responsive. It moved with our desire. But as we grew, we were taught to doubt, to be realistic, to trust what others could see instead of what we could feel. And so the magic faded, and the power of imagination fell asleep within us. As Jesus said, "Unless you become as little children, you cannot enter the kingdom of heaven." He spoke not of age, but of attitude, the fearless faith that imagines without question. For the child believes wholly. He does not analyze, he accepts. That pure acceptance is the doorway to creation itself. Every doubt you hold today was planted by a world that did not know itself. You were told to be realistic, to expect disappointment, to prepare for lack, and you called that wisdom. Yet that realism was only fear wearing a mask of virtue. To doubt yourself is to forget the name of God, for his name forever is I am. Whenever you say, "I am weak, I am afraid, I am not ready," you misuse the holy name and passion after it, the image of limitation. Self-doubt is not humility. It is unbelief in disguise. You think you honor life by confessing smallness, but you only deny the power that lives within you. Faith in self is not pride. It is obedience to truth. It is saying, "I am the cause of all that I behold, and therefore I can change it by changing my assumption." The world teaches you to believe in circumstances. It tells you that success belongs to the fortunate and love to the deserving. But imagination teaches you something higher, that the world is the servant of your inner state. Whatever you assume yourself to be, the outer world must reflect. It has no choice. So when you say, "I don't know if I can," you simply affirm, "I am one who cannot," and the world will mirror that statement faithfully. Begin instead to speak within yourself the language of being. I am capable, I am secure, I am loved. not as a chant to persuade the mind, but as a recognition of what is eternally true. Faith in self does not come by effort. It awakens through remembrance. You need not strengthen your will, but only recall who you are. When you remember that your own wonderful human imagination is God, you stop begging life to change and quietly assume the state desired, knowing that the assumption, once felt real, contains within itself the power to externalize. The old self, with all its fears, will whisper, "This is foolish." Let it whisper. It is only the echo of a forgotten dream. Hold instead the inner certainty, "I am already what I seek." For that is faith in its purest form, loyalty to the unseen reality. You may say, "Surely this is but a clever theory of the mind, a pleasant philosophy for dreamers." Many have thought the same. They ask, if imagination truly creates reality, why is the world still filled with sorrow, with poverty, with pain? They call it a theory, yet this law was not framed by man. It is the eternal principle by which all things appear. The law itself cannot fail. It mirrors without judgment. It is impersonal, and therefore no respecter of persons. Whether you believe or deny it, it moves on quietly producing in your world that which you have assumed within. What fails is not the law, but man's loyalty to what he has imagined. When a man departs from his assumption and looks again to the evidence of the senses and says, "It has not yet come," he breaks the very faith that set creation in motion. The law obeys that change, for it is perfectly impartial. It reflects the new state as faithfully as it did the old. The wise throughout the ages have recognized this one law, cause and effect, divine order, and it is one and the same power. The law is absolute and impartial. For as the sun must rise, so must your assumption, once accepted as true, unfold itself in time. You may not yet see the dawn, but the light is certain, for it already burns beyond the horizon. Faith is that quiet knowing that the unseen is already at work. The world you see is but the echo of faith, the slow reflection of what you have dared to accept as true within. If the echo displeases you, do not curse the mirror. Change the sound you are sending forth. Faith is not effort. It is quiet fidelity to the unseen. It does not argue. It does not test. It abides. You cannot serve two masters, the visible and the invisible. Choose this day whom you will serve. Remain faithful to the unseen reality, and the outer world must, in its appointed hour, conform. So, my friends, never ask again whether the law works. Ask only whether you have remained faithful to the assumption that it does. For the law is perfect, and it waits only for your faith to be so. There comes a moment when every question must fall silent. You have reasoned, you have studied, you have sought proof. Yet the more you seek, the farther the proof seems to drift. For faith does not come by argument. It comes by remembrance. Faith is not an effort of the mind, but the remembering of your true nature, the awareness that you and the Creator are one. It is not gained through struggle, but through stillness. When you return to that inner knowing, you rediscover the simple fact that the power you seek has never left you. To have faith is to return to your origin. It is to rest once more in the truth of I am, before name or circumstance or doubt was learned. Faith is the homecoming of consciousness, the soul remembering its source. The mind that doubts is forever reaching outward, searching for signs. It says, if only the world would show me a token, then I could believe. But the heart that knows looks inward and whispers, because I believe the sign must appear. Doubt demands evidence first. Faith gives birth to it. Scripture declares faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. And again, before Abraham was, I am. These are not riddles, but revelations of your own being. To have faith is to return to that awareness and live from it. Faith is loyalty to the unseen reality. When you remain loyal to that unseen world within, the outer world must bow to it as surely as night yields to morning. Think of faith as the certainty with which you expect the sun to rise. You do not wake and wonder if light will come. You simply know it will. So it is with every assumption held in the stillness of conviction. It must break forth in its season. Perhaps you have waited for a door to open, for a letter to come, for a hand to reach toward you. Yet every such door waits first within your own consciousness. The outer event is only the echo of an inner acceptance. Once you feel it done within, the world has no choice but to mirror it without. If you feel doubt, do not resist it. To wrestle with doubt is to feed it. Instead, turn from the shadow and dwell again in your chosen state. Simply be in the end. Let the thought, I am, fill the room of your mind until nothing else is present. You will find that faith begins not when the noise ceases, but when you no longer listen to it. The law answers only to faith, and faith is loyalty to the unseen. It is the refusal to betray your inner vision, even when all appearances deny it. The senses will tempt you to doubt. They will cry, look around you. But the awakened one replies, I look within me. When you feel the peace of knowing, do not disturb it with effort. Do not ask how or when. Simply walk in the world as one who has received, not one who waits. That state of quiet possession is the true prayer. Rest now in the confidence that all is already accomplished within. The work is finished. The seed is planted. Go and live from that assurance, for the end of doubt is the remembrance of who you are. The journey always ends where it began, within. After all the searching, the questioning, the practice and the proof, you come at last to stillness and remember. You remember that imagination was never a tool to get things, but the very life of God made visible through you. Faith does not come by force. It returns naturally when you stop feeding doubt with your attention. It is the quiet knowing that what you assume with love must appear, for nothing can oppose the I am. To live by faith is simply to live as yourself, the self that existed before fear and reason divided heaven and earth. So, when next you imagine, do it not as a beggar asking, but as a son returning home. Enter the feeling of the wish fulfilled and rest there, not because you hope it works, but because you know it already has. That rest, that Sabbath, is the highest act of creation. The world will gently echo your inner certainty as life rearranges itself in ways you could not have planned. Events will unfold with quiet precision. New directions will seem to open of their own accord. Yet you will know it was all finished from the beginning. Creation is complete. You are merely awakening to what was eternally true. Therefore, walk now in quiet confidence. Let no appearance persuade you otherwise. Hold fast to your inner vision, and you will find that the promise was never far off. It was within you all along. For the end of doubt is the beginning of remembrance. And remembrance is faith. Now, let us go into the silence.